It was one of those quiet nights when the city outside seemed to pause, the usual hum of traffic softened by the gentle drizzle tapping against my apartment window. I was curled up on the couch, a mug of tea warm in my hands, the soft glow of the lamp casting long shadows across the room. Normally, nights like this were my sanctuary, a time to breathe, reflect, and enjoy the silence. But tonight felt different. There was a subtle sense of anticipation, a prickling tension I couldn't quite place. My phone buzzed on the coffee table, breaking the stillness. I glanced at the screen and saw Liam's name lighting it up. My heart skipped a beat, as it always did when his name appeared, though I couldn't tell if it was excitement or something else entirely. Liam and I had been friends for years, and yet there was always an undercurrent I couldn't name, a closeness that seemed to hover just beneath the surface. "Hey, Ethan." His voice came through casual, but with a note of stress that immediately caught my attention. My apartment's having a bit of a problem. Water leak. Could I maybe crash at your place tonight?" I hesitated. Normally, I'd be fine with having friends over, but Liam wasn't just any friend. Something about inviting him in made my chest tighten. "Sure," I found myself saying, trying to sound casual, though my voice probably betrayed my nerves. "I mean, yeah, come over. The guest room's free." There was a pause, then a small laugh on the other side. "Thanks, man. You're a lifesaver." When he arrived, it was raining harder now, droplets sliding down the window panes like tiny rivers. Liam's hair was damp, and he carried his bag slung lazily over one shoulder. I handed him a towel, our fingers brushing for just a second longer than necessary. I caught myself holding the contact a beat too long, and when I looked away, my stomach fluttered unexpectedly. We settled into the living room. I offered him some tea, and we sat across from each other on the couch. The air between us felt charged, though we talked about mundane things. Work, errands, small frustrations of the week. And yet, every so often, our conversation would veer into something more personal. A joke from the past, a memory that made us laugh until our shoulders ached. I noticed how his eyes crinkled when he smiled, how his laughter made the room feel warmer. The subtle brush of his hand against mine, when he reached for the teapot, sent a strange warmth through me. I told myself it was nothing, just friendship, but the truth lingered in my chest like an unspoken secret. The way he leaned forward when telling a story, the way he rested his elbow on the arm of the couch near mine, the way his gaze seemed to linger just a fraction too long. All of it was magnetic in a way I hadn't anticipated. Eventually, the night grew later, and Liam headed to the guest room. I could hear him shifting in the bed as he tried to get comfortable, the faint rustle of sheets. I lay on the couch, pretending to read, but I couldn't focus. My thoughts kept wandering back to him. How odd it felt to have him in my apartment here, so close yet just out of reach. My heart beat a little faster than normal, a mix of excitement and something I didn't want to name. The silence returned, punctuated only by the patter of rain outside and the soft creak of the floorboards as the apartment settled. I sipped my tea slowly, letting the warmth spread through me, but it did little to calm the restlessness building inside. I found myself imagining him walking into the kitchen in the morning, laughing at something silly, the light catching his hair just so, his presence filling the space around him in a way that left me both anxious and strangely at ease. I realized, as I sat there watching the shadows flicker across the walls, that this night was already different. Something had shifted, an invisible line crossed simply by proximity, by shared space, by the unspoken tension hovering between us. I didn't know what it meant, and perhaps I didn't need to yet. For now, I simply let myself feel the electricity of the moment, the thrill of having Liam here, the quiet intimacy of a friendship that seemed poised on the edge of something more. Sleep didn't come easily that night. I lay on the couch, tracing the rim of my mug with my finger, listening to the rhythm of his breathing from the guest room, acutely aware of the small, human presence just a room away. It was a simple thing, really. He was just my friend, staying over for the night, but the closeness felt weighty, charged, and strangely intimate. And as the rain continued to fall outside, I realized I wouldn't be able to forget this night any time soon. I couldn't sleep. Not even the soft of the rain against the window or the steady rhythm of Liam's breathing from the guest room could calm the restless energy coursing through me. I told myself it was silly. He was just a friend, just staying for the night. But the truth was, I hadn't felt my heart race like this in years. Something about having him here, so close, made the apartment feel smaller, warmer, and more intense all at once. Minutes stretched into what felt like hours. I shifted on the couch, trying to find a comfortable position, my eyes wandering toward the guest room door. I told myself I wasn't going to disturb him, and yet a part of me hoped he might appear, that we might talk a little longer, laugh a little more, even if it was past midnight. The quiet, heavy with tension, felt almost unbearable. Then the door creaked. My breath hitched. Liam stepped into the living room, wearing nothing but a soft hoodie over his sleepwear, his hair slightly mussed from sleep. "Hey," he whispered, not wanting to wake the whole building. "I couldn't sleep. Mind if I sit here for a bit?" His voice was calm, but there was a vulnerability in it I hadn't expected. "Of course," I said, gesturing to the couch beside me. He eased onto it, close enough that our knees brushed slightly. My stomach flipped at the contact, the accidental intimacy sending a jolt through me. We sat there in silence for a moment, both listening to the rain, both aware of the subtle electricity in the air. He laughed softly, a little embarrassed. "I don't know why I can't sleep tonight. It's like everything's too quiet." He shifted slightly, closing the distance, his shoulder brushing mine. I realized I was holding my breath. Every small movement magnified, every accidental touch sending a thrill I tried to ignore. We started talking, quietly, about everything and nothing. Past regrets, funny stories from work, little secrets we hadn't shared before. I noticed the way his eyes lit up when he recounted a memory, the way his laughter seemed to linger in the corners of the room. My hand rested near his on the couch, and I felt a strange hesitance, a desire to close the gap without moving too quickly. At one point, our arms accidentally brushed while reaching for the same mug of tea. The warmth of his skin against mine made my chest tighten, my mind spinning with possibilities I hadn't dared to consider. I told myself it was nothing, that I was imagining things, but even as I rationalized it, my body betrayed me, every nerve alert to his presence. We fell into a rhythm of conversation and shared silences, the kind that felt both intimate and safe. It was uncanny how comfortable it was, how natural, yet how electric every glance, every subtle gesture became. He adjusted the blanket over his legs, and our knees touched again, this time more deliberately, though neither of us commented. Instead, we laughed softly, our voices barely above a whisper, the sound swallowed by the night. Hours passed in this delicate, almost suspended state. I found myself staring at him without realizing it, noticing the tilt of his head as he spoke, the gentle way he shifted to make room for me. There was something magnetic about him, something that drew me in without a word, without an overt invitation. And the closer he leaned, even innocently, the more I realized how much I wanted to be near him, to linger in this charged, fragile moment. Eventually, exhaustion claimed us both. We adjusted the couch cushions, laying side by side under a shared blanket, careful not to crowd, but still close enough to feel the warmth of each other's presence. Sleep came slowly, uneven, filled with dreams that were lighter and more vivid than usual, dreams colored by the closeness of him beside me. Even as I drifted off, one thought lingered in my mind. Nothing had happened, not in any explicit way, but everything had changed. That night, the air between us had shifted, the lines of friendship blurring just enough to make me wonder, to make me hope. And though I couldn't name it yet, I knew that when morning came, nothing would feel quite the same again. Morning light crept gently through the blinds, casting warm, golden stripes across the living room. I woke slowly, the soft from the city outside mixing with the muted sound of rain still pattering against the windows. My body felt oddly heavy, not from sleep, but from the strange, comforting weight of the night just past. I blinked, adjusting to brightness, and realized Liam was still there, lie on the couch beside me. He looked peaceful, hair slightly messy from sleep, hoodie slightly bunched at the shoulders, and a small, contented smile tugging at his lips. For a moment, I just watched him, the way the sunlight kissed the curve of his cheek, the gentle rise and fall of his chest. It was disarmingly ordinary and yet somehow profoundly intimate. I felt a warmth spread through me, a mixture of relief, affection, and something more subtle, something that had been quietly growing since last night. He stirred, blinking blearily at me, and gave a small, teasing smile. "Morning," he murmured, voice husky from sleep. "Didn't think I'd sleep this well here." "Morning," I said, my voice a little rough too, though steadier than I felt. "I didn't think you'd sleep at all." I chuckled softly, the tension of the night easing slightly with the sunlight. He stretched lazily, shoulders brushing mine ever so slightly as he adjusted on the couch. I felt a shiver, not from cold, but from familiarity of our proximity. It was harmless, innocent even, but it made my heart beat a little faster. "Thanks for letting me stay," he said quietly. I guess I didn't realize how much I needed a quiet night like this. I nodded, a smile tugging at my lips. "It's no problem. Really, I'm glad you're here." There was a pause, a moment of shared understanding where words weren't necessary. Just the two of us, basking in the easy rhythm of comfort and connection. Eventually, we both got up, the awkwardness of sleeping in someone else's home melting into gentle camaraderie. Liam shuffled into the kitchen while I followed, both of us moving carefully around the small space, still aware of each other but in a relaxed, natural way. He started making coffee, and I leaned against the counter, watching him with quiet amusement. There was something comforting about the mundane routine, pouring coffee, stirring sugar, laughing at small mishaps, that somehow deepened the bond we had built in those few, fleeting hours. We talked about last night lightly, without judgment, without embarrassment. He joked about how he almost spilled the tea when reaching across the couch, and I laughed, teasing him for being clumsy. But beneath the humor, there was an unspoken acknowledgement. Something had shifted. Our friendship had crossed a threshold, one that couldn't easily be ignored. As we sat at the small kitchen table, sipping coffee, I realized I was seeing him in a new light. The warmth of his smile, the subtle kindness in his gestures, the easy way he listened, all felt more significant than ever. My mind kept circling back to last night, to the way our shoulders had brushed, to the gentle closeness we had shared. For the first time, I didn't want to deny it. I wanted to explore this feeling carefully, respectfully, and fully. Liam caught my gaze across the table, and for a brief moment, the room felt charged again. "I think," he said softly, "I've felt this way for a while, though I didn't know how to say it. Last night, it just made me realize I don't want to hide it anymore." I smiled, my chest swelling with relief and happiness. "I think I feel the same," I admitted. The words were simple, but they carried all the weight of the tension, the uncertainty, and the emotional closeness we had built. We didn't need to define everything immediately. We knew we'd take it slow. Let our friendship guide the way. Let the trust and connection we had nurtured be the foundation for whatever came next. There was no rush, no pressure, just the understanding that what we shared was special, rare, and worth exploring. The morning stretched on, the rain slowing to a drizzle, the sunlight growing stronger. Liam made breakfast, and I helped in small ways, passing utensils, stirring coffee, laughing at our minor mishaps. Every glance, every small smile, every shared moment carried a quiet intimacy, a recognition that something had changed between us permanently and irrevocably. As we sat down to eat, I felt a sense of contentment I hadn't realized I'd been missing. The night had been unexpected, the closeness accidental, but the feelings that had emerged were real, undeniable, and full of possibility. And in that simple, quiet morning, with him beside me, I understood that some of the most important moments in life are the ones we never see coming.